All right, so I hope you tried out number 2. I'm going to go through each method and I'm going to tell you what the answer is. So you should be following along this video with your work, no matter which method you used, to see if you got it right, and if you didn't, see where you can find your mistake. All right, I'm going to start with slip and slide. I see that 8y squared, negative 10y, and negative 3 don't have anything in common other than 1. So I'm going to slip my a term and multiply it by c. 8 times negative 3 gives me negative 24. So now I need to figure out what multiplies to get negative 24 and adds to get 10. So I know that one of my numbers will be positive and one of my numbers will be a negative. Well, I know that negative 12 times a positive 2 gives me a negative 24. And I also know that negative 12 plus 2 gives me a negative 10. So I'm going to use those two factors. So I have y minus 12 and y plus 2. Now I need to divide these two factors by what I slipped over, which was 8. I know that negative 12 divided by 8, that does simplify. It doesn't simplify to an integer, but I know that 4 will go into both of these. So I'm going to start with that. 12 divided by 4 gives me 3, and it's a negative. 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. I also know that 2 over 8 will simplify, not to an integer, but I know that I can simplify the fraction. 2 does go into both of those, so I have a 1 over 4. I still have denominators, so those denominators are going to get slid up to be the coefficients of their variables. So I have 2y minus 3 and 4y plus 1. Let me check my work just to make sure I did everything correctly. As y'all know, I've been known to make a mistake. First, outer, inner, last. Combine like terms. And it checks out to be what I got originally. So if you use the slip and slide method, this is what your answer should have been, and your work should have looked pretty similar. Now, if you forgot that negative 12 and 8 and 2 and 8, that these two things had factors that you could simplify them to, and you had 8y minus 12 and 8y plus 2, you still should have seen that you could have factored out a 4 from that and a 2 from that. So if that was where your mistake was, check to see if now you can factor something out from each binomial. Alright, now I'm going to use the grouping method. 8 times negative 3 still gives me negative 24. And negative 12 times 2 gives me negative 24. And negative 12 plus 2 still gives me a negative 10. So I'm going to break up that middle term into two separate terms, a negative 12y and a 2y, as that still is the exact same thing. I'm going to break those up into two binomials. I'm going to still factor out a 4 from these two terms, as well as a y, because I see that those two terms have not only a 4, but a y in common as well. So since I'm factoring out a 4y, I'm going to put that on the outside. And all I have left on the inside is a 2y and a minus 3. Over here I see that I can't really factor anything out. The only thing I can factor out of this is 1. So I'm going to go ahead and factor that out because I still want to have a binomial that will match this. So factoring out a 1 leaves everything the same. I see that this and this are the same, so I only need one of those. And the two terms that I have left, those two greatest common factors, they make up my second binomial. And my check is going to be the same. So check your work, see how you did, see if you can find your mistake. If you have any questions, please let me know. I want you to try number 3 as well if you're not too frustrated at this point. If you're super frustrated and super confused, I don't want to make it worse on you. So you don't have to do number 3, but we will go over number 3 first thing tomorrow as long as we have school. Enjoy the rest of your snow day, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Bye!